Here's the setup that I use to measure the Arbour runout on my Hammer K3 saw. I've got my magnetic base, which is secured to the cast iron top, and I've got my dial indicator here, and this is quite a rigid setup, which you want. And you can see, before we look at the dial indicator, you can see one thing with the Hammer K3 is it has two breaking pins, which makes it a little bit more difficult to measure the runout. I can only measure it on each side in between the breaking pins. You can see that my indicator is zeroed out, and I will rotate. I'm using the scoring blade arbor to rotate the main arbor so I don't flex it in any way or knock the dial indicator. And as I rotate it, you can see that I've got, looks like I'm just coming up on that pin, I've got just over a thou, maybe a thou and a half of variation in height, which would be the runout of this portion of the arbor. Let me lift up the plunger and we'll do the other side. So I'm zeroed again, and if I rotate it, you'll see that I'm getting maybe a little bit less than, well, no, I would say I've got a thou and a half of variation as I sweep over that close to 180 degrees of rotation. So that's a little bit more than I would expect, and certainly more than I want with my arbor. The next thing I'd like to do is measure the runout on the flange, and this is what actually contacts the side of the blade. And if I bring my camera back, you can see how I've set up my magnetic base on the back. So it has a magnetic hold on the back and the bottom. And then I've got the indicator probing off of the face of that flange. And in this case, I don't have to worry about the breaking pins because the flange extends beyond those. So let's keep an eye on the dial indicator as I rotate this over 360 degrees. And already I can see, boy, I've got a lot of run out there. So we're at over a thou, coming up on 2 thou. Let's see what happens if I keep going there. We're back to 0. Then we're at +1. So we've got 3 thou, I'm going to say, of variation in that flange, which is way more than I'd like. The flange fits over the breaking pins, so I can install it in two different ways, and I've taken it off and rotated it 180 degrees and put it back on, and let's see what that does to the runout. So you can see now as I'm rotating it, I'm getting what appears to be just a thou of runout, which is still more than I'd like, but that's a lot better than what I was seeing before. So I need to make a little mark on this so that I always put that flange back on the same way to minimize the runout.